LINX is in the building.
Yo, thank you for agreeing to do this. I know you're a busy dude and all that stuff. And this is the first time in a long time, like I'm nervous. I've been doing the YouTube thing for like 4+ years and it's good energy. Like I'm like excited for this, you know what I mean?
Word. Nah, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad. I'm glad we could do it. I'm excited too, so should be cool.
Yeah, and I definitely want to keep this. Like I already hit record, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So it's pre-taped. Like if you say something or anything, you can say cut. I'll bleep it out. Yeah, just things like that. Before we even get into anything, I guess the basis of this, I just want to have a conversation. So it's not gonna be like a real interview. Like I know you probably got a lot of people that reached out to you already to set up interviews and stuff like that from the community, right?
Nah, you was the first one.
For real?
You was the first one with this. So I get a lot of interview requests all the time for the music stuff and stuff like that. But you was the first one to reach out. I checked your stuff out. The energy was great, so it just felt right to do it. So I'm with it.
Couple of Brooklyn cats. I know you from Flatbush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Brooklyn College, like right around, obviously around the corner from Bulletproof, and I still get my cut on, like in my boy's crib. Like I have to bleep that out.
Okay. Nah, I got you.
I want nobody running up on me.
Yeah, for sure. Don't give them the coordinates.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I guess I don't even know what to call this because this is my first. Back in the day, let me just give you some background. So when I first started doing YouTube, I just did videos for like the first year, and then I started doing live streams. When I started doing live streams, it was like one-on-one, like interview things, and like that got played out kind of fast. And then it's like every Friday I just have a show with me and my boys, and then we just talk shit, pop culture talk and all that other stuff. And then I found like something was missing. Like I've been like, I don't know, I've been like on a journey like to kind of find myself again and whatever. And then it just was happenstance. I was telling my wife, and this is how I found you. Obviously I know your name from the podcast and the hip hop stuff. But I was telling my wife, I was just like, yo, I want to do something comic book related and hip hop related and just, bring a light to, I don't know, give them a more urban feel. So I was just talking about that, and dead ass, like on my Instagram, and this is why sometimes I feel like we live in a simulation. Nah, I'm not crazy like that. I opened the Instagram, the first 3 pages or the first 3 things suggested you, Pete Rock, and Kwame. And I was just like, yo, and I was just like surprised when I saw your that you were making comic book content at the time just on IG. So I was just familiar with you on IG, and then I had subscribed to you on the music tip.
Yeah. Nah, it was just something that I wanted to do in terms of, me being in music and media for years. I worked at XXL, I've worked at MTV. I'm currently working at Genius. I've had contracts with Amazon. I've put some amazing content out in the world. Like, I'm a content creator, but I've done it for brands. Like, if you see what's going on Genius's YouTube channel, like, I'm one of the architects of that. Like it's literally like before Rob and after Rob, it's a different company, it's a different type of thing. So I'm one of the architects of that. Just recently, MTV News shut down their whole site and took all of their archives offline. This is years of work. This is Jay-Z interviews that I've done, Lil Wayne interviews that I've done, Drake interviews that I've done, Nicki Minaj. Man, I've interviewed Miley Cyrus, I've interviewed Lady Gaga, like all of it taking off the internet. And we're just getting in this space where, where these companies, these publishers are divesting and making less and less content in the stories that we want to tell. Even, my background is in journalism. Even if you look at the podcast space in hip hop, there's not really many like people who come from a journalistic background. And so either ex rappers, Gilly, Budden, Nori, even though Cam and Mace do sports, or it's athletes, Shannon Sharp, like these are where all the interviews is going. And that's not even a complaint, but it's like, yo, the industry is changing. So for me, I'm like, man, I done did it for so many companies. It's time to do it for myself. And really, so I built my music channel, my YouTube channel, but I had this passion for comic books, and I said, why not? You know what I'm saying? And started putting out there. And, my closest friends know that. The people who really know me know that, but I'm like, man, let me just put this out in the world, man, and you never know what comes from it, but it feels good. So
Yeah, of course. Now, have you always been a collector and like a known collector, or you were like a closet like? Because well, me and my friends, like a lot of people didn't know that I collected stuff, and then like one time they came to the house and they were just like, oh shit, like they knew I bought figures here and there, whatever. And then when they came to the house, they was like, oh shit, like they really had no idea to the depth that I collected. Were you always like an out there collector? I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah. No, amongst my friends for sure, absolutely. The first job I ever got when I was 13 years old was in a comic book store in Kensington in Brooklyn. So I had to walk across Prospect Park from Flatbush to Kensington and go to this comic book store where I made $3 an hour, and my whole $3 an hour and any comic book that I wanted, and he just did my pull list, whatever I wanted, which was a bargain to me. I look at it now, but I'm like, but really all I wanted was sneaker money. I just wanted Air Jordan. So I'm like, man, this is the best job ever. And yeah, so I've always been collecting. I've always had a comic book collection. Like, I mean, if you see on my wall, there's a New Mutants 98 first appearance of Deadpool. Like, I bought that when it came out. Like, that copy that I sent to CGC is the copy that I've always had since 91 or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff here that, this Ghost Rider that you see right here, the glow in the dark cover. Like, I bought that off the newsstand. So
that's the original Ghost Rider.
So a lot of the stuff in my collection, the stuff that I've had since I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, that's dope. And then I see from your background, so obviously you can't see my entire background. So on my shelf, I have the New Mutants 98 right there, Hulk 181 right there, the Thanos Gauntlet right there. Is it a New York thing or something? Yeah,
it's looking the same. I need to catch up though. I need that Amazing Fantasy right there, doggy.
Yeah, I picked that up this year at Heroes Con.
Congratulations, that's fire.
Yeah, thank you, dog. Thank you. No, it's funny how it's just like there's a kindred spirit type thing and the familiarity when you speak to somebody from the same borough, from the same hood and stuff like that. But it's funny how it's just like, I'm assuming, can I ask how old you are?
Yeah. Nah, it ain't. I'm 44.
I'm 44. There you go.
Okay, damn, wow. This is meant to be. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'll be 45 in January.
Word. Yeah,
wow, you carry yourself well. You don't look it at all, dog.
Thank you, V. Nah, I appreciate it. I mean, likewise. But I think it's pouring yourself into your passion, what keeps you young. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. But look, man, 44. I'm from that era. Came, Brooklyn, Flatbush, Brooklyn. Like when I was growing up, like we had to find comic stores. There wasn't no comic book stores in the hood. So a lot of the stuff, like I said, that New Mutants, I bought that literally off a newsstand on Parkside and Ocean. Like before we learned what bags and boards were, we were just picking stuff up from the Stop One or the Optimal store or whatever. And then, that's why coming up in Brooklyn that, you mentioned Bulletproof Comics was revolutionary when they opened. I think they opened in 92. Shout out to Hank, shout out to the whole Bulletproof Brigade. But it was like, oh, they opened in a comic book store in the hood. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is so dope because I think they didn't think much of us as kids. People, business owners were obviously scared of what might happen and stuff like that. But what kid growing up, I don't care if you grew up in Idaho or Flatbush, Brooklyn, East New York, Atlanta, like what kid didn't want to be Batman? What kid didn't want to dress up as Spider-Man for Halloween? Which kid didn't watch the X-Men animated cartoons when it came on that Saturday morning? We was kids like everybody else was kids, even if our reality was a little more harsh.
Yeah, facts. Like I grew up in Bed-Stuy, so I grew up in like right in the middle between LG and Marcy.
Yeah,
and I used to get my comic books, from the newspaper spot with like bleep. And when they put up a comic book store between on Myrtle between Classen and Emerson in Bed-Stuy. And it was just like the greatest thing ever. But the only thing was like you couldn't go in and touch the books. It was legit like it looked like a liquor store where you had to get the books behind the bulletproof glass and put it in the spinner thing. So you couldn't even like grab stuff off the rack. There was nothing on the customer facing side or the customer vestibule area. But it was crazy. Like I used to go in there and grab whatever. That's when the X-Men cards was popping, the Marvel Masterpiece was popping like that. Like I have a job. I wish I had a job. I said it before. I ain't afraid to say, when I found out you could get money for bottles, My mother
Right.
was super embarrassed, dude, but I was like collecting bottles just to get $1 and go to the comic book store.
Yeah, nah, we used to do that. You just collect bottles and go to Warbounds and change it in, or when it was wintertime, again, we from Flatbush, Brooklyn,
Yeah.
but we then walk over to Ditmas Park and shovel, because that's where all the nice houses was. So we would go to Ditmas Park with our shovels and shovel out somebody's driveway and shovel up their porch for a little $10-$20 or something like that. So absolutely.
Yeah, and then when obviously to the collecting journey, like I was in it, I got out of it. I was in it, I got out of it. Was that the same case for you? Like, were you always in it, or did you get out of it? Like when you discovered girls and shit like that?
Yeah. Nah, I had periods of going in and out. So yeah, definitely. So they let me go at the comic book store, like just couldn't afford to keep me. It didn't make sense, but at that time, I'm maybe 15, 16 years old. Yeah, I want to hang out with girls. I got this and that going on. So I was always like, I wasn't in the comic store every week. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was still like main events I would pay attention to. So yeah, I've had periods of being in and out. And then my best friend that I grew up with, goes by the name of, his name is Damian Scott. He's a comic book artist. When we were young, he would always draw. We knew he was going to be a comic book artist. And so he got on like around 98, 99, 2000. I remember he went away to the Kubert school out in Jersey. And then when he graduated, he got on and he just started killing it. So like my man is there like doing signings at comic book stores, or when he had a book hit the shelves, I'm back in the comic book store picking up my man's, joints and stuff like that. So he had like a big run on Batgirl. He's a creator of the Cassandra Cain version of Batgirl. So
that's crazy.
Like, so that 1999 2000 Batgirl series, he did like the first 36 issues. When Birds of Prey came out, like his name is in the credits as a thank you. I think he got a little check for that, a little residual or something like that. So yeah, we was always in it, man. But yeah, there's periods of going back and forth. And then when COVID hit, what happened was I was in the midst of moving, and a lot of my comic books were stored in my parents' house, and I had more space. So I'm like, man, let me, my mom's hitting me with we're gonna throw these out unless, and I'm like, nah, you're not doing that. So I kind of took everything back home, rebagged, reboarded it, created this display and stuff like that, and I'm back in it.
My mom did that to me with my cassette. Well, I think it's my mom, unless my brother, sold it for some money or whatever. When I had moved out, I moved out of my mom's crib. Well, my grandmother's crib, we lived in the same building, and then I had moved out, and it wasn't like an amicable, like I left, like, they kind of threw us out. And I had boxes of cassette tapes. Literally, I left, I think it was on Tuesday, and I went back on Saturday to get all my stuff. My boxes of cassette tapes were gone.
Wow.
Gone.
Wow.
I know it was you, Michael.
Right. But it goes back to what you say. I think hip hop, when you said, well, you're always a collector. Yeah, I think it's inherent. Even in hip hop, like either we collect the vinyls or CDs or tapes, just being a hip hop head. And you mentioned Pete Rock, that's my guy. Like we talk about comics all the time, but Pete Rock is a vinyl collector, right? So his vinyl collection is ill. Like you look at somebody like Just Blaze, is a collector, right? Not just vinyl, not just music, but comics, polo gear. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that there is something within our generation and our culture where we collect stuff and put it on display, and some people collect sneakers. So it just manifests in different ways. But there's a lot of collectors in hip hop, so I don't think it's that foreign. Like it's one of those things. Like sometimes it feels weird because you're like, oh man, are the world gonna judge me? Or they're gonna think I'm a nerd or this and that. And when people see it, you realize how much it opens you up to somebody says, oh, me too. Word, nah, I got that too. Oh, I remember when that dropped too. Like, there's so many hip hop cats who are just like huge, like into comic books and shit like that. Eminem, Rook from the Justice League, like Method Man, Ghost, like, you know what I'm saying? All the Wu-Tang had like comic book names. So it's not as weird as people make it out to be. And
the only person that I ever got to talk about comics with, when I met DMC, Daryl DMC, and when I saw him at New York Comic Con and he had his book, like I wowed out. Like I had no idea that he was into comic books and stuff like that. I saw him on Comic Book Man, the Kevin Smith show, but that like it made me feel that I wasn't weird. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like a nerd when it's like these hip hop cats, street cats are into the same shit that I'm into.
Yeah, nah, absolutely, man. And so, so we here. So, I like I said, when I checked out your channel, when you hit me up, I was like, oh, I could relate to this. Like it just felt like you said, like kindred spirits or something like that. Like it's not that weird. Like there's a lot of us out here, so you know, I'm glad I'm putting that display on my channel as well. You know what I mean?
Nah, thank you. I appreciate that. Now you have a successful music channel. How did it feel to start your comic book YouTube channel and go back to zero? Was there when you split them? Was there a main reason? Like you didn't want the crossover audience or something like that? People would be like, "Yo, get that comic book shit out of here."
Yeah, you know, my music channel is and I'm grateful for the success, but it's not even like I've had the channel for a while, but I haven't been dedicating to it. It hasn't even been a year yet. You know what I'm saying? Since I really started shooting the content and giving like multiple pieces a week. So the music channel is still really new. And I was doing both, and I was putting comic book content on there too. And I even consulted with a friend who works at YouTube, and she said, yeah, you don't have to split it. You could do it. And I just wanted the comic book stuff to have its own space for that reason. But like people come to me for music, and a lot of people hit me and was like, yo, I love that you do both. I'm still doing both. They're just in two separate places. I just didn't want to confuse the audience. I'm still building the music channel. It's still very much new. And so, but you know, I got 21,000 subscribers, which is like pretty cool.
Under a year, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so you know, I'm like, definitely when I started the comic channel, I'm just like, oh, we really starting from zero. And it hasn't been a year, but it's some stuff that I forgot. I'm like, oh, I can't choose my own thumbnail. I got to reach a certain threshold to do this.
For real?
I had to do some verification or some certain steps to choose my own thumbnail out the gate. I figured it out pretty quickly, but there was things that I had to figure out again. I was like, oh man, I forgot I had to do this when I started the other one. So it's humbling a bit, you know what I'm saying? But it's also like cool to the fact of everybody who's there. I'm super grateful, and this is the community I'm supposed to be building with. So it's worth the work, and everybody's been super cool so far.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things about the comic book space and other people that come from other spaces, whether it's gaming, music, whatever it is, that the comic book space is like really, really welcoming. For the most part, obviously, you got your bad apples like any other thing. But for the most part, the comic book space is like super welcoming. And I started dying laughing. So I was going through your comments, and it was just like, yo, you have great energy. And I'm like, yo, y'all don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but it's cool. First video, that's amazing.
Right. But it's cool. I dig it. I like that's super cool to me. Like, it's like, well fuck it. I'm glad you're here. And let's go along for the ride, because I really did, and I made the video about it where the first weekend that I said, all right, I'm just gonna spit off and do my own comic book. Was the same weekend that Comic Tom versus Sticky Goose thing was happening, and I seen Goose's whole thing just unravel in the matter of 3 days, right? And I was never really a big fan. I didn't watch a bunch of his stuff, but I was like, oh, I seen what he was going for. For me, it just reinforced what I knew. It was like, man, I think he tried to build his channel off of controversy, but you can't be that 24/7. It's the same thing in hip hop. Like,
it's not sustainable.
Personalities, in hip hop who just build it off of negativity. It's a little different in hip hop, because it's like, fam, you're gonna go outside and you're gonna get checked. You know what I'm saying? Or something's gonna happen. But even before all that, it's like, I don't want that negative energy around me every time I have to post a video. I have to get into like a wrestler mode or play the heel or something like that. And then to see this guy ponder in real time, is just what I really want to do. Just help me reinforce. Now I know what I want to build my channel on. And even if it take the long road, I'll take it. Yeah,
and I think Comic Tom, in that whole interaction, like he hit on it when he was talking about things being disingenuous. Like, authenticity is key. If you come in here, you have a persona that's only gonna last, a certain amount of time. That has a shelf life. Like, you have to be yourself. No matter if you do the music content, comic content, whatever. Like, your subscribers are there for you. Like, you're your main selling point. You're your main product. And like you said, the drama's not sustainable. It was disingenuous. Shout out to Sticky Goose though, because he's a smart cat.
Yeah, nah, absolutely. And I like, because he did I don't know if it's the last one he did, but the last one I watched, it was a couple of days later. Like, he took accountability and he said, yo, I need to step back and figure out what I wanted to do. I thought that was big of him. Hopefully he stick with it, man. But first and foremost, you got to find your passion. But to that point of you got to be who you are. Like, man, I mean, that to me, that's hip hop, man. I've gotten up in here and I've had to give my opinion on certain things, and I'm never nasty, but sometimes it's not the most positive review or the wrong review or whatever. But you know, I think people could sense that I come from it with love and authenticity and respect, and I never really had no problems, man. I travel to any city. I walk in any club. A lot of times I'm dolo, like, you know what I'm saying, and it's nothing but love, and I'm appreciative of that. But I know that's because of the energy that I put out. So it's like, man, we're just gonna keep putting out that energy. I'm looking forward now to going to Comic-Con this year after I have this channel, and whoever I get to meet at Comic-Con who's just here for the comic book content, man, it's gonna be fun.
I'm assuming you go to New York Comic Con every year?
Yeah.
Or is this the first time?
Nah, I've been there. You know, I started going as a kid. Again, it's not every year. Some years it's on, some years it's off. But what I'm excited about this year, last year I was there for the first time in an official capacity because I was moderating the panel with DMC. It was like DMC, Bill Sienkiewicz, Sanford Green, Axel Alonso. And then this year on Friday, the 18th, I'm back moderating another panel. My man Charlemagne the God is putting out his own comic book, his own graphic novel, and he's working with Dennis Cohen and Axel Alonso, and so we're gonna moderate a panel with Charlemagne, and we're gonna have a good conversation.
That's the Illuminati graphic novel, right?
The Illuminati joint, yeah.
Yeah. I backed that on Kickstarter the other day. Like, I'm super excited for that. I think anybody, whenever there's like a hip hop mind that starts doing material and comics like that, I'm all over it, man. And so I'm super excited about that. I'm hoping to get to that panel. Like, I'll be there as well at New York Comic Con. I'll be working, like, I get contracted for one of the retailers, like, to film. So I'll be there like all 4 days, but then I get to like break away and do my own thing. So I'm hoping to like pop in that panel.
Yeah, man. So we'll definitely kick it, man. I'm gonna be at the panel. I'm gonna be there Friday. Saturday, I'm just going to kick it. My sons want to go, so I'm gonna go with my kids. I'm gonna hang out at the Bulletproof booth. Got my eye on a couple of comics. We see if I buy, you know, a couple of these grails or something like that. So
what you got your eye on?
I don't know if I'm gonna do it, man. But
do it. You got to.
X-Men 1 keep calling me in some form or fashion. Like, I need an X-Men 1, man. I'm gonna make that happen soon. If it don't happen at Comic-Con, it's gonna happen though.
Nah, you got to do that. It's funny because like I was collecting slabs before I started the YouTube thing. Cause like you know, I mentioned before, we all like get out of it. I sold my whole collection. I had my daughter like really young, so I sold off my stuff when my daughter, you know, was about to be born. Blah blah blah. Then my wife, she got me some slabs for Christmas, so I was doing slabs before I got on YouTube.
Oh wow!
But then now I'll be like, damn, if I get this, that video's gonna pop. So now that's when you're gonna be like, damn, when I get the X-Men 1, yo, that video's gonna pop. And the algorithm loves you, my dude. Like, legit, like you all over the front page. Like, you hit algorithm gold.
Yeah, I'm just lucky, man. But you know, I got to be consistent with it. You know what I'm saying? And not rest on that, right? Like, sometimes you know how the algorithm goes. Sometimes you fall in and out of favor with it, but it's the consistency that matters. So, but yeah, man, I actually got to get the video. Last year at Comic-Con, I bought the Hulk, the 181.
Nice.
I wasn't thinking about making content or nothing like that, but my man was there. He filmed the whole. He said, "I can't believe you're about to do it. I can't." He filmed the whole shit. I got to get the video from him.
Yeah, when I bought the AF-15, this is the stupidest video ever. Like, I apologize to people that watched the entire thing. So it's mad long. It's just my wife. I'm walking like GTA style, and my wife is behind me filming me with a GoPro 360 camera. Yo, I go and buy it, but you can't even see what I'm buying. And the dude is just there counting the money, blah, 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 cash. And then I literally just walk away. I show it for 2 seconds, and then it's like another 7 minutes of me just walking back to our booth. Yo, people were mad tight. Like, yo, we didn't even see what you bought. And then they waited for the haul video, which was the next one.
Listen, you know, you gotta give them the sequel, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I apologize. That video, yeah. I know people were tight about that. You mentioned sequels. Now, obviously, we're the same age, come from the same era. When the comic book movies started popping off like that, what was the one like point in the movie that like took you back like to being a little kid? Like, what's your favorite from like any DC, MCU, whatever, favorite comic book moment? I
mean, all of like just that whole Avengers, you know, from Iron Man on, the Hulk, the Ang Lee movie, wasn't it? You know, but I think the first cameo in the MCU of Thanos, when he just took like you know, I'm prime age for when the Infinity Gauntlet hit. So when Thanos just turns around and yeah, man, like I was like, oh, this is what we building up to. and you know, I'm with my wife and my kids, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even know what's about to happen. And you know, the way they slow rolled that story out, it was probably the first Thanos cameo got me like super hyped.
Bro, like with that, I was in on the AMC on 42nd Street. Yo, and legit, like the theater, and it was the same thing for like other cameos, but everybody like and then you start hearing, but who's that? But who's that? Yo, and I'm just like, Thanos is my favorite character of all time, and I was just like on the ceiling, like I was so hyped. And then when he spun around in Guardians of the Galaxy, just him on the throne, that little cameo, I was just like super hype. And the way he was introduced, like for me, and this is what I tell everybody, right? So you waited since Iron Man. Your comic book journey started with Iron Man. Mine started with Infinity Gauntlet in 91 or whatever. So you waited 10 years for Thanos to come to screen. I waited my entire life. So when he finally came to the screen and was done justice, woo!
Yeah.
Yo, speechless, bro.
They did that amazing. I thought the movie, I thought Endgame and Infinity War was better than the actual Infinity Gauntlet comic book. I think that's
100%.
I think that's the one time, or one of the few times, when I could say the movie was better than the source material. Like even still, I remember Black Panther and everybody, because Black Panther was an entry point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
In MCU. So you get the Black Panther film, and then right after you get Infinity War, and the snap happens, and everybody who was there, because there was a Black Panther fan, like that snap, that cinematic snap moment was so devastating in the theater. Like little kids is crying, people is pissed. Like that was a great moment. You know what I'm saying? Like just in films, man. And it was way better in the comic. Like in the comic, it just wasn't dramatic at all like that. It just, you know what I mean?
Nah, like you said, that's definitely one of the better movie adaptions, because Infinity Gauntlet is my favorite story just because of all the characters. It was the first really crossover that I was introduced to. But when that snap happened and the credits rolled and there was no more, oh no, they did have the stupid Captain. I wish they didn't have the Captain Marvel thing at the end of it. I wish it would have just ended with Thanos sitting on the farm and no like Captain Marvel sting or anything. Like leave the audience in despair. That's the only like critique I had about that.
Yeah. They had another movie to sell. But yeah, no, I feel you, man. But nah, that was it was amazing, man. I remember that. Also reminded me of being a kid and seeing the Transformers animated movie as a kid, and when Optimus Prime died. Like it's just certain things, in these films that hit you right here.
Yeah, I never seen Transformers.
You never seen the first one?
Nah, I've never seen an episode of Transformers.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna say, damn, I didn't spoil the whole thing for you.
No, even that. Nah, as a kid, I was mad weird. Like I'm super loyal, so I would just watch Ninja Turtles, and then I'd be like, I don't want to watch anything else. It's just Ninja Turtles. Right. So I've always been like brand loyal that way. Like even the same thing with like gear. Like I'll just get like these clothes for now and nothing else. But that's how I was as a kid. I would just be like, yo, Ninja Turtles and then Batman the Animated Series and nothing else. So I deprived myself of Transformers, of He-Man, Thundercats. I'm wild.
Yeah, it's probably hard to go back and watch it too. Like they probably don't hold up the same unless you have the nostalgia factor already. But that first Transformer animated movie was incredible.
Did you see the new He-Man? Because I just mentioned He-Man. The new one on Netflix, the Kevin Smith produced one?
I didn't watch it yet. I got to check it out.
No, you don't.
I'm still catching up with the Penguin and Agatha. So I got a lot of stuff on my list.
What do you think about Agatha? I'm one episode behind, but what do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm one episode behind too. It's cool. I got to rewatch it. I got to somebody told me I was looking at it the wrong way, but I still can't get over
the right way to look at it is with your eyes closed and the TV off.
Yeah. I still can't get over the fact that, bro, we never asked for this. Nobody asked for an Agatha series, okay?
And the problem that I have with it, it's not for me. Like it's like Channel 7, Sunday night, 7 p.m. type vibes, right? But the thing is, like she was the villain in the other show. There was no transition for her being the villain, so now we have to follow her journey. Like I don't understand the purpose in that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it another shot, but it definitely was over my head. I'm like, who asked for this? But the Penguin series is fire. I call it Penguin Soprano. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like Sopranos meets Batman, man. I love that series.
Yeah, I'm one episode behind, but yo, phenomenal. What really surprised me was Sophia Falcone. Like her, like she was what in How I Met Your Mother, right? The last season.
Yeah,
Like she's killing it in the episode that I've seen, and even just bringing the realism to the penguin with him, with his fucked up foot and all that stuff, instead of just a dude walking whack whack whack. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Like are you on? I'm assuming you're on Threads.
not as much as I should be. Shout out to my man DZ over at Facebook, over at Meta, man. He's like, man, I need to get you on Threads more. So a little bit, but not as much as I should be. They're about to force me into it though.
It's good for engagement. So I had threw out a picture of Penguin, and all I said was, I wish they gave Matt Reeves the key to the DCU. And it's everybody just flaming me and all that stuff. But it's good for like little bait and whatever.
Hey, James Gunn got to show and prove. I'll believe it when I see it, man. Because if they don't get this right, it's a wrap. I think it's right. It's a wrap, man. They done messed up so many times, man.
I think it's doomed. Like it's doomed from the start. And I hate to say that because I want all these films to be successful. Obviously, we're comic book nerds. We love this stuff. But with the Superman stuff, just the amount of characters that we've seen and behind the scenes footage and pictures and things like that, the costume designs. Like for me, Superman is always the straight guy. Like meaning that he's not the jokester. He's not the funny guy. So it seems like they're making just another Guardians of the Galaxy, and I don't think that's good. Like I think it's doomed.
We'll see. I'm gonna go into it with an open mind. I thought the Man of Steel movie was incredible.
I loved it.
I thought that was the best depiction of Superman that I've seen. So that's gonna be hard for me to top. Hard for them to top for me. But I'm gonna go into it with an open mind and see. But like if they don't get it right this time, I don't know what DC does cinematically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they just got such a big uphill climb, and I think that's just because the majority of the characters, that's why Batman works, because there's no like godlike figures. So Batman works, you could just strip everybody of whatever. But I don't know, for Superman it's just weird. Like for them, like Man of Steel worked because they treated it like that. It was two gods fighting, knocking down mountains, like in the Olympian times and shit like that. It was just in current times now because of Superman. But I don't know, you can't ground Superman. It's just super weird.
Yeah. We'll see.
What are you reading?
A lot. Currently, Ultimate Spider-Man is probably my favorite ongoing Marvel series right now. I'm not so much into Ultimate X-Men. I've been buying it week to week, but I kind of fell off. Like, I appreciate the chances that Peach Momoko took, but it just hadn't grabbed me the same way. Ultimate Black Panther is like okay, it's like a decent enough read, but I'm not like excited about it. But I'm excited about Ultimate Spider-Man. I've been trying to get into the new X-Men stuff, the From the Ashes. A lot of it is hit or miss. I think the Wolverine one that Saladin Ahmed did with Martin Coccolo, I thought that was dope. That was one of the best Wolverine stories I've read in a while. The X-Men and the Uncanny X-Men I'm into. I think Uncanny X-Men is really good. And then X-Force I'm about to dump. I think the new X-Force comes out whenever they see this, but it comes out tomorrow on Wednesday. I think I'm purposely not going to pick up the new X-Force. I'm just not into Forge and that analog spear that predicts the end of the world. Like, I don't know where they're going with it. NYX might have a couple issues left for me before, unless it changes. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'll try out Exceptional X-Men, but From the Ashes is X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Wolverine. I like the Storm also, the new Storm book was cool. I just started reading for Image the Power Fantasy, which I think is dope.
And was it good?
Yeah, it was dope. The first two issues to me was incredible. Just the premise of it. It was just like really well written. So I'm into that. And
have you checked out the Geiger stuff, like the Ghost Machine stuff?
No, not yet. Nah,
bruh. Like Geiger is fire.
Okay.
I think Geiger's the best one out of the bunch, but they're all dope. So Geiger, I think on the first volume it was like 5 issues, super fire. Then the second volume it was 2 issues, and then now this is like the third volume. The ongoing series is super dope, man. It's like Radioactive Man basically.
Okay.
In a post-apocalyptic United States. But then they're laying out this entire like universe, but they're not like interconnecting. They're just like little hints in it because the timeline is so vast. So like they also have Redcoat, which takes place in like the 1800s. but they mentioned Redcoat and Geiger, which takes place in like 2050. And then there's Junkyard Joe, which I think was one of the best written series. It's about a robot during, I want to say it was the Vietnam War or the Korean War, but it was done with a lens of like PTSD. Like, I don't know if the writer, like if he studied that or even had that or whatever the case, but it's just done with that lens and it's so well written.
That's fine. I'm gonna check that out for sure. I just started like getting back into the image stuff. There was a lot of image stuff that I missed. I respawn regularly, and then I just been kind of opening it up to like I said, I picked up the Power Fantasy, a couple of other new image stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's tough, right? As an adult, like picking up an X-Men book that you love X-Men back in the day, and then as an adult now, it's like, damn, this shit is trash.
Yeah. But I also think that most of us too. I think everybody's favorite era is whatever the era was when you were 12, 13, 14, like that. So for me, it happened to be that Jim Lee, Will Spataccio era, Chris Claremont, you know what I'm saying? Mark Silvestri, for somebody younger than me, it might be that Age of Apocalypse, era, which was a good jumping on point too. So, I think it depends on where you kind of came into it at. But yeah, this new stuff, like Krakoa kind of lost me. Like I after a while, it just started feeling like, yo, this don't feel like the X-Men no more. You know what I'm saying?
I tried, dude. I tried. Like when I got back into it during the COVID time into just reading, like I tried the X-Men stuff, and from the jump, I was just like, this is not for me. This isn't the X-Men. Luckily, what was going on at the time was Immortal Hulk. So then I think there were like 3 trade paperbacks out. So I was just like, all right, let me see what the Hulk is up to. One of my favorite characters. I fell in love with the Immortal Hulk. And then I caught up for the weeklies on issue 26. And then it was, not weeklies, monthlies on issue 26. And I loved it. One of my favorite runs of all time. And then the Starship Hulk shit that came out with Donny Cates completely ruined it. But the Hulk now is back to those kind of like horror roots. It's outside of Ultimate Spider-Man, I think Hulk is the best Marvel title right now. Ultimate Spider-Man for me, that's like top tier. And it's dope to look at an adult version of Spider-Man. Like, that's what I always wanted. Like, that shit is fucking fire.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast today, the Rob Liefeld's podcast, and he was saying how, because we're all older now, like we don't want the kid versions of, I think Miles Morales worked in a big way, but Spider-Boy, we'll see how long that lasts. But now they're about to introduce Spider-Girl, Deadpool. His daughter is now taking over Deadpool. Like, they're putting kids in place of all the favorite heroes. The problem is, though, I don't know if kids are reading the book as much as folks our age who are doing it off of nostalgia. So it's funny when you kind of try to figure out who these books really for and who's the target audience. But my thing is, I always want to see new characters. Like Miles was dope, that worked. I'm like, do we really need a Spider-Boy? Okay, we have a Spider-Boy. Do we really need a Spider-Girl? Do we really need a second Deadpool? Like, I don't need Deadpool Corps, Spider-Verse, 20 versions of Spider-Man, 20 versions of Deadpool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, after a while, it's like, we got the Green Hulk, we got the Red Hulk, we got, like, after a while, it's like, where are we going to get, we got Iron Man, we got Riri, we got War Machine. Like, yo, just give us new characters, dog. Like, stop trying to give us different versions of the shit.
Yeah. Like all these characters that are derivative of a different character. I think, like you said, Miles worked. Like, and it's funny because when I got back into books, I was just like, like why are they trying to redo another Spider-Man or whatever? And then I read it and I was just like, oh, okay. And then I appreciate that he's, half Puerto Rican, half black. He's from the hood. And I was just like, oh, snap. It's like the reflection of me almost. So I really dug Miles, but I was like so anti-Miles without even like reading the shit. And then when the movie came out, I was like blown away by the first one. I still think that's one of the better Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, they killed it. Nah, it was amazing.
What do you got coming up on the channel and stuff?
I don't know. Flying by the seat of my pants. I do eventually want to get into interviews. And getting some creators to do interviews. So that's going to be coming, if not before the end of the year, top of next year. there'll definitely be some Comic-Con content or recap, weekly pickups, deep dives into like old storylines that I was, feeling. And then just general comic news, like, unboxings, I guess. I did my first unboxing video yesterday, which was like, I'm like, how do I set the camera up and do this? But I got I sent a Youngblood one out to CGC when Rob Liefeld was doing his signing, so got to sign the slab, and that book isn't worth much. It wasn't like an investment play, but I was just like, what Image Comics became over the course of 30 years. Like, I remember I'm from that era where all those guys left Marvel and went to Image, and what Image is responsible for so much in pop culture right now, be it Spawn, Invincible, Walking Dead. Like, I'm just like, it would be cool if you had the first Marvel comic ever signed by Stan Lee. So, I'll do the Rob Liefeld Image comic, like, because it just felt symbolic. So, I did an unboxing video. So, we'll get some of that. But I'm still kind of just figuring it out in real time, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, no, and that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to approach it. Like, I think sometimes when you put too much thought into something and you overthink it, it doesn't come out like the best product that you could get out of it. And that's just my approach. Like, for me, sometimes I overthink things. So, like, right now, like, we're talking, like, I was nervous because I haven't done like a sit down one-on-one, like, interview or conversation type thing. And then I was like, how do I approach this? Like, what do I do? Do I be like, welcome Rob Markman Comics? Like, that's why I was just like, when you sat down, I did like, yo, bro, I already press record, and it's just like, just kick it and just be natural. But
I appreciate that, man. And this is cool, man. Like, I wanted to do this when you reached out. I'm just like, man, this is gonna be dope, man. Like I said, everybody has been dope. Like, people that I've watched before I started my channel, like, reaching out or leaving comments or DMs or something like that is crazy. Like, even the way, I guess, some people treat me because of my stature in music, like, for Gem Mint Collectibles, just be like, oh shit, man, I dig what you're doing. I'm like, oh shit, I watch you all the time. Or for Comic Time to, DM me and be like, yo, what you're doing is really cool. I like that. Keep going. And it's like, and they don't know. I don't think they know who I am in music either. But it's like, oh, okay, like this is encouraging. So I want to build up, take that inspiration, and then be that for somebody else too, man.
Yeah.
Like, a year from now, and I've made more strides, and then I see somebody else just starting out, and you know what I'm saying? And you show that same love right back. So, it's all about community, man.
Yeah, absolutely. A big shout out to Gem Mint and Comic Tom. Gem Mint was one of the people that I watched because he's been around forever. And then we met in person. We started a working relationship, and then that's the homie. So it's funny to go from that to being like just texting like on the regular and shit like that. Yeah. So
he'll bug me out because I'll be watching his video and he'll just drop like a Wu-Tang line or a Biggie line. Like he said something the other day. He had a video. He was like, yeah, double digit 1,000 stacks, and then I was like, oh, nobody got that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
on the Minty show, he's super hip hop, hip hop. And Mark, we're gonna get out of here again. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat with you, man. So this is something that I was looking forward to. Like I told you, I was nervous, and thank you for coming on. And I appreciate you, dog.
Nah, it's all good. I appreciate you too, man. Maybe this will be the first of many. You know what I'm saying? And I look forward to building, but thank you for being so welcoming right out the gate, man. You mean a lot.
Of course, homie, Brooklyn.
You already know. Come on. That style, come on.
Yeah, I don't even know what to name this thing.
Man, you'll figure it out, man. Put a little SEO on it, a little razzle dazzle. You know what I'm saying? You got this, man. I'm looking at you for inspiration.
Nah, thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. And